Friday. It's Friday from an uneventful week, but it's Friday. Alright. I think I got everything settled here, so happy Friday. Happy Thanksgiving. That was yesterday, I guess. I forgot to have my coffee till just now, so hopefully I wake up soon. Hello, Warhorse. I was originally going to try to see, being it's a day after Thanksgiving, like do a game stream. We could have done one before for day after Thanksgiving, but most people I play with aren't like here right now. They're off doing stuff, so I'm just going to do SFM instead. Might do it some other time. Anyway, got Twilight. I'm trying to remember what it was we were doing at this time. Hello. I think I'm actually going to add in the lights here. Sorry, I'm trying to down the bar. I'm gonna put the lights in her eyes. Before I forget, or at least get an idea as to what her eyes are supposed to look like. No, it's a scene build, kind of. I mean, these are all pre-built groups of models. But essentially, yes, it is a scene build. I mean, it's a lot bigger than this. But... okay. Nope, should be brighter. That a little bit? Kind of. There. It's a work in progress, but it's all pre-made groups of models. It's not like I went and built all the computers on the shelves or something. Okay, those might be a little too bright, but I'll leave them as they are for now. Maybe lock to her head. Yeah. I know it is. I've done full-time school, full-time work before. It's your life. one should probably be shadowed. But I think I'm also going to put it more at this angle. This is going to be a really tight thread to go with, but yeah. I think that works better. I'm just going with the same kind of Twilight, doing the same crazy stuff. I have poor little... right now it's just Doctor Who's, but I'm thinking I might keep it as him. He's going to get bashed by Mallet. Because she needs his brain. Legitimately. Oops. I have the brain here, so it'd be... I was just trying to find a cartoonish way to do it, because my nieces and nephews watch, so I try to keep it to keep the violence stuff just funny. So like even just this Thanksgiving, it was yesterday, my nephew brought up the Flight into Easy Steps video and said that he had showed it to some of his friends and they subscribed. So, and he's 10, so I don't want to put things in there that are going to push that crowd away when that's my family. So, which doesn't bother me at all. I think it's more fun to try to make something that's funny by portraying the violence in a non-violent way. So, there's probably only going to... It's meant to be huge for a reason. For one, I think it's this one. Nope, not that one. This one. Oh, no, not that. It'd be this one. Is it this one? No. This one? This one. All right. So this one isn't going to come down correctly, but I believe... Oh, I have to move that over. That's why that's not working right. But anyways, so this one anyway. Comes on center. Center-ish. Technically it's a little bit too high, or a little bit too low, but that's fine. So it's supposed to come down like that, but I wanted to make them big enough so that when it crushes him and the brain comes out and all that's left, it is comedic in that there is no showing of brutality. The mallet would hide everything. And then I don't think I'm going to keep this one. Right now it's just in there for balance. So I might keep it in there just because if you look at it like this, you don't know what these things are. So it doesn't give... Because if I did this, the lighting is pretty low right now for the top. But if I were to show the top, you would know what's going to happen. And I don't want that. I want it to be a complete surprise. So the audio was because I grabbed some more of the Dr. Spara and I was trying to find reasons to use this one bit of the audio, and I'm still trying to figure out how to best use it. But, oh, I probably should unmute it. That helps.
Headshot surgery! Ho! Now grab the brain! Squishy! Yeah! You got a brain! Woo!
So, I think that there is other bits for the brain that she speaks about, but that's about it. I might actually be able to grab the...
Now grab the brain! Squishy! Yeah!
I might actually grab one other bit from her. Ooh, do I still have this audio? I think I do. Is it here? Okay, good. Let's see here. That's rocketeering. That. Where is Spara? Every time I search it, it doesn't pop up. So, or at least the last time I tried. I can't remember the name. Somebody had asked last time too about bump maps, but I didn't have the software downloaded. I do now. If they are here, I will go over that. If not, I will wait a little while and go over it anyway, and then I can always point to the recording. There we go. Rocket surgery. So I want to find the one. There's one. She's like, she said, just says science. Oh, I don't have VLC. Okay, that's one thing I'm gonna need to download right now then. Download's not fast enough. Oh. Okay, it's hiding. I've been keeping up on the streams, then why did you not know what I was working on? Probably even have an install of this somewhere still. I try to keep all the install files for certain things just because you never know when you're never going to be able to have access to it again. Or like somebody takes the software down and okay.
You did it! I knew you could do it!
That could even be useful too.
Grab the brain? Yeah! Kill one of those torque...
Wait, what is it?
Grab the brain? Yeah!
Rub the brain.
Kill one of those torque things and give me its brain. Gonna use that for the guidance system on the Let's learn some rocket science. Woo! I got an idea for a rocket navigation system, but I need your help. I need a bunch of crap. Go get it. Let's do this. Believe in your dreams. Woo! You did it! You got a I need some robo lubricant. Also, grab me some crap. I need some stalker blood as lubricant.
I think it might actually be towards the end of the...
table's probably got some leftover blood to drain. Don't think about how gross it is. Or do, because it's still cool. Just one more
No.
Just get some... Wings looking... Ew, slash all right. Here are some facts about flying.
No.
I stashed a freeze gun for you because science is all about being prepared and hiding freeze guns everywhere.
Oh, okay, so you can't watch the whole thing. I see.
Just look at that stalker wing. Same day. Get the wings so my missile can soar. You ever see that basketball?
No.
We got what we need. All right, all right, all right. Blam! Now put the torque brain. That torque brain's...
There's a certain science one I need.
That torque has no idea how to drive. Try killing him with a crit. You gotta crit him to get the brain.
Sad that I know the
that
audio
brain's
enough.
Looking... One more and we'll have enough. Oh man, I hope that glass holds. Come on, press the button. Now fire the rocket. Hypothesis, this will be frickin' sick. Blending.
I thought there was going to be any more audio I could
the
use out of
blinder's
here.
over here.
But I'm pretty sure I can.
It's in. Let's go launch the rocket. victory! Ho! Now grab. That's it.
Oh, come on, I know
All right.
it's in here. I've listened to this audio
Now,
100 times.
launch that thingy! Science! I like the cut of this rocket's jib. Squishy!
It's right at the beginning.
Lab stuff! Friggin' experiments are so cool. It's congealed. I'm feeling it. And launch!
It never gets old.
3, 2, 1. Oh man, it's heading for my house. Yeah!
Is it just the last one?
Science! Let me give you a reward.
There we go. Okay. I thought it was towards the end. And then the other thing is, I also realized I do not have Audacity, which is also needed. At least they have a good server. The DLC server kind of sucks. Yeah, I got a new computer. Well, not... I didn't get a new computer. I got a new, everything in it, I guess. My case, my power supply, my graphics card, and some of my hard drive's the same. Did I say that already? Maybe I did. I don't know. But everything, like processor, motherboard, RAM, new hard drives, HSF, all that's new. But I needed to reinstall Windows because my my previous Windows had a pretty stupid issue. Can I see? Oh, I can. Where
Science!
I couldn't boot to Windows without using the CD, which is really stupid. Ugh. So it ended up being that whenever I booted my computer, it would, if I didn't have the CD in the drive, it would just say boot manager broken. I tried everything I could to fix it, had no luck. So this is just going to be, let's just say science. And this is not the right bit rate. I think it needs 44100. So then I would have to go to my I'd have to have the disk in. It would try to boot to the hard drive. It would fail, so it would back up to the CD. The CD would boot Windows, and then it would go back to my hard drive. So for an SSD, I was booting in like multiple minutes instead of seconds, and it was really annoying. So I ended up getting that figured out, though. I didn't need to. I kind of, this is about set up the same, but I need to change a couple things. Local disk is really just my operating system and main software, like the general important programs, I guess, that are needed for Windows and other small little things. Everything else I put on this. I even have a program files that I put separate, so. Actually, I can get rid of 76 because I put it on a separate hard drive. But like all of Steam is sitting on this hard drive, so all you have to do is, if it's on a separate hard drive like that, I go to install Steam and it says, where do you want to install Steam? And I point it to that exact folder. I've done it before like this, and when it'll install Steam, it'll override a couple of files, but other than that, it will just Steam will install and all the games will already be pre-installed. You might have to do that first stage installation, but all the game files are there. So SFM was still there, everything. So I didn't have to redo anything. It was nice and easy. I've done it once like that before, so I knew that it worked. I have a backup of this stuff just in case, because I'm paranoid about that stuff, but yeah. Which hard drive? I have a this one's my operating system drive. So it's like it's a 500 gigabyte SSD. This is my main drive that I put a lot of stuff on. That's just a Western Digital Caviar Black, 2 terabyte, and then I have another hard drive I haven't plugged in yet. That's my backup drive, which is 3 terabytes, Caviar Green, Western Digital. That's a slower drive that I use for dumping everything from my main drive. That's for renders and save files and stuff I put there. And then the gaming one, I have to clean it out because I was copying over everything originally and then not, is a 1 terabyte M.2 drive. So my original intent was I wanted to take everything from Steam and move it to the M.2, but it was taking forever. And the M.2 could keep up. I could run other stuff on it perfectly fine, but the spinning drive was just too slow. It was going to take like 14 hours to get everything over, and not because of the amount of data, but the amount of files. There was like hundreds of thousands of files in there from everything. So I had to cancel it, and Stream was going to be starting in like a half hour. So I just quickly installed Steam on the old drive. So I do want to take all of Steam and move it to the M.2 though. I was originally going to put Windows in the M.2, but then I decided not to because the SSD is perfectly fine running it. I don't notice any issues. Poor horse. Yeah, the speed difference between a normal SSD and an M.2 is like 5 to 6 times difference. The M.2s are stupid fast, but for what I'm doing with the operating system, it boots in literally 7 to 8 seconds. I really don't need to cut it down to 1 second. It's not gonna. Most of that time isn't even the operating system booting; it's the posting and all that stuff. So everything else runs quickly within Windows, so I'm not worried about it. I think it works great as it is. Okay, so we got the extra audio in here. What I think is funny though is that like right now I'm running at, I can preview at 30 something frames a second, but I mean otherwise this is like 90 frames a second solo, and this is with my other TV running at 4K right now. But if I put on the secondary window last time when I did this, it dropped the frame rate drastically. Yeah, it went from 90s to 60s to 70s. Yeah, you can already tell the difference in the frame rate drop. It dropped it literally like 30%, about 30%. It's crazy. And I've gotten to the point now I'm so jaded with some stuff that normally be like, oh, it's 90 frames a second, you're not going to tell the difference. Well, when I stream, I run it at 60 hertz, but otherwise my monitor could do up to 165 hertz. So if I'm sitting at, if I drop from 120 to 90, I'm kind of like, ah, because I can tell the difference. No problem. Questions away. This is kind of empty up here, but I might leave it that way. I might just throw some sciencey stuff on there. I really do want to, like, take what they did here, though, like with the tables, and like recreate it, kind of, because actually that's gonna I opened up sound, so it's going to crash. I'm just going to preemptive it. The quality of the textures on those models is very low. For the ones in the background and everything, it actually looks great. You can't really tell that they're low poly, but for the one that's right up there, to me, doesn't take much to see that. Well, I guess in a way, if you had depth of field running, even if you were here, yeah, you're not gonna really. Well, you're not gonna really notice the difference. It just bugs me. I like things being super high quality. Like, look at this. It's kind of poor. I want to check. So, if I were to do that, I need to first make sure that, do I have a higher quality monitor to go? That's Breen. And Breen, that is not how you, that's the wrong kind of diet. Apparently it's not gonna let me look at it at all. Because I was planning on cutting it around 8. I'm probably going to show the bump map thing that I was going to do. Because the question came up last Tuesday about how do you make a bump map in SFM. And, well, I'm not an expert in any way on how do you make a bump map. I at least know how to make some basic ones to get you by. So first, let's find a model that would work for, or that you could add a bump map to. Let's see here. I already did the one for future dash. I'm gonna try this. Let's try this. Let's see if we can find. There's a certain type of wood floor that already has a bump map, but I can create one from it. Actually, do these have bump maps? These might actually work. It's kind of low quality, but it would, again, get the point across. Do not think they do. Nope, does not look like it because the light's perfectly flat. So yeah, let's add one to this one. It's be kind of a challenge for me too. So, first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to actually find this texture. My cheat way to do it is you add override here, and then go into your show an element viewer model. You can find your textures file name right here. So I'm just going to take that, and then I don't know what game this is from, so I'm also just going to right click the model and go show game model and explorer. So it's in Half-Life 2. So I just go back here to the game. It says game. Here's Half-Life 2. I'm just going to open up materials folder because this link is from the materials. I'm just going to paste it to the end of that, but I got to remove the actual file name. Now I'm in that folder. Now I'm looking for Woodset 01. Woodset 01. Looks like I've actually extracted this before. So if I open up the VTF, which is the actual file, you can see the actual wood bits. Looks like that's used for a couple different things. So this is VTF edit that I'm using. It'll let me extract it. So I'm going to export this, and I'm going to go a little bit fast because this is recorded, so you can always check it out on a recording. I'm going to paste, or not paste, save. And now if I go in here, I would set 01. open it in the Photoshops, and I can see the actual texture. Now, when it comes to a bump map, you're looking to make a drawing. I don't want to use here. You're making a drawing that is not for coloration or looks, it's for depth. That's all you're doing. So if I were to put this as it is, it probably wouldn't look right for me, because it's going to be, all these color differences are all going to be varying depths, which might be okay, but the wood itself, oh, I don't have the mouse wheel set to zoom. I couldn't bother with it right now. But these dark lines right here are going to be the divots in the wood. So technically it should be the darkest line on a bump map. Well, all the rest should be kind of a minor thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and adjust. I'm going to make this black and white because I don't want, or I want it to be, I don't need any color. I just need shades. So I'll just do like this. I'll brighten it up a little bit so I can see a little better. Okay. Now, like I said, we're going to want to have the interior edges of this darker than the middle by quite a bit. So I'm going to, and I'm just going to delete this part over here because I'm not actually going to use it. Oh, let's just do this instead. Oops. Just so we know we don't have to touch it. So for what's left, I want to make this a higher contrast. So let's do, I want the brightness to go up and higher contrast. Sure. Let's keep it like that. But I also, like, these little divots right here are about as deep as these. Do we want to keep it like that? Maybe. I'll leave it like that right now, but like here, it's not going to work so well because you're going to have these areas almost as deep as the actual divots. But we'll keep it like that right now and see how it turns out. So I'm just going to save as, I don't want to overwrite the original one. The standard for a bump map is to do like an _n for the texture name. At least it is for SFM, so I'm just going to leave it that way. Yep. And now I'm going to go back to my VTF edit, and we're going to import this _n. And over here it has normal map, so we're going to generate a normal map. We're going to keep it, there's all the settings as it is. So it's going to look a little different. From what I can tell, I think we might have it backwards on the white and black. I always get it backwards, but we'll just leave it as it is for now. And this one I'm going to save as. You'll see here the checkbox for normal map is checked. And we're going to go down to that one that I had, so woodset 01. We're going to just save it as _n again. Then we're going to go back to SFM, and I'm going to do this here because it's convenient, and for the situation it doesn't matter, but I highly recommend you don't use overrides for bump maps. If you put it, SFM has a bug where if you put a bump map on an override to a material, all instances of that material, even in other scenes and other shots that don't have that override, will still act as if they did, but without the value. So in that case, they'll suddenly have an override for bump map, but it won't point to anything, so it'll be an invalid texture, and it will texture, or it will checkerbox it. I don't know why it does that. It's only bump map, and it's on overrides. So if you need to add a bump map to something, your two choices are to to do it with an override as long as there's no other use of it to worry about. But if there are other uses to worry about, what you would do is go into the VMT and add your bump map here instead of the override. That would affect all other models, but it would make it then each of them would be getting that value correctly. Or have a separate texture that's just pure white as the bump map as an override in the other ones, so that they are pointing to something, just not the broken one. The reason I had to do that second one was because in Remembrance, I worked the whole video with using Fluttershy and Rarity for different things. And then I went to go add a bump map to them because at the very end of Remembrance, they're cracking. And so I added a bump map to them showing they were cracking. And when I did that, when I had the bump maps, it broke their textures in the other scenes. Well, I didn't want to reload the model and have to figure out, copy and paste all the animations back and forth. So instead, I kept the override in the other one, and then I just did another override in the other ones to override the override. It's stupid. Anyways, so in here, but in here it doesn't matter because it's one of these same instance, and it's just going to be easier. So I'm going to do an override of bump map, and we're going to select would set a 1. Doesn't like shift. There we go. Underscore N. All right, that's. Why are you completely lit? Did it have a bump map? No, it didn't. So I'll make sure I did something right here. Bump map. What's this? Let's go 1. Yes, it did. So why is it essentially taking on unlit? Some of these textures are just stupid, and I don't know why they act up. I have this one open. I don't see any issue with it. I haven't even really looked at the sales. I have everything I'd want on Steam right now. If you do Steam sales, before you go too far with buying a lot of stuff, I recommend, if you've never checked them out before, this isn't an advertisement, it's just saying because they're cool. Green Man Gaming, if you've never bought from them before, I highly recommend checking them out because they usually have the same sales that Steam is running, or other sales, or for even cheaper than Steam is running them, even brand new games, and they give you a Steam key. So it's stupid not to check out. Anytime I go to look to get a game, I check Steam and I check here. I've bought probably 80% of all my games from Green Man lately because it's just a Steam key, so it's exactly the same as buying it on Steam. I'm actually going to keep this open because I keep forgetting to check out their sales. How's Fallout 76 going? I've actually been having a lot of fun with it. Does it have issues? Yes. But it hasn't stopped me from having fun with it. I'm like I just hit level 60 today. Actually, like a half hour before the stream started. No, 45 minutes before the stream started. The server I was on dropped a nuke, and so I got to run in on there. It crashed like 3/4 the way through it though, but I still got some good stuff, so I'm not going to complain. Yeah, I've actually had a lot of fun with it, and even though we put I have 75 hours in the game already, I have only explored like 3/4 or 4/5 of the map, if that, and I still have a lot of stuff I want to do. So, oh yeah, the codes. I have a couple of the codes for nuke drops. I just haven't gotten enough of them yet to actually drop one. So what is being weird with this bump map? maybe that's it. Let's try this. We're gonna put that on here, and I'm gonna restart the software. Because being that when I removed it, it was still broken, to me means something's weird. To me, 76 is, if you were playing solo, it is boring. There's only so much entertainment. Like, I find entertainment in solo, but it's because I do it in short little jaunts. But I have like 4 or 5 other people that are playing too. The game is immensely different when you're playing it with other people. I have a lot more fun with it then. There is a lot of difficulties with their social, like, friend list bit does not work very well, so it's kind of a hassle to try to get people in and out. But no, when it works, it is a lot of fun as a group with friends. But so I'm okay with the solo bits, because if I play solo, it's usually for a couple hours and then somebody else comes on. And it's still broke. So this wood might not be a really good example, because it's one of these few models that just is really stupid. It might be. See, now it's just perma broke. I've thought about doing a gaming stream with it, but to me, again, it's more fun when there's a lot of people there, and like, I was going to do it tonight, but everybody that I'm playing with right now is out doing other things, so I can't. Let's see if I can see that same model again. Is it this one? I think so. Because it's still a little broken, yeah. What can I jump? Oh, you know what? I'll just jump ahead to show what. Okay, so I showed you how to make one. And now I can show you what the final result would be. So let's go to. So Daybreaker's Armor, I had went through and done this a little bit too. So, so using that exact same, or about the same method. Yeah, I don't know if Jay has it though. There's been a lot of people talking crap on the game, and I will agree with a lot of it that there is issues with the game, but it hasn't stopped me from having fun with it. And to me, it's got a huge amount of potential. They just got to work through it. So, no, here. So I just wanted to add something to this to give it some kind of definition. So I put a bump map in for these little lines. Let me open that model here. And I actually modified the texture for this because I felt that I was probably going to be using it all the time with it. So if I open up the, let's do this one. So this is the chest plate for it. So it's just, I went and found, I think I either found, or I think I might have actually downloaded like a Scratches brush for Photoshop. And I just painted brush strokes everywhere. The actual TGA that I imported is this. So this is literally, like I did, a black and white that I then just imported into VTF Edit as a bump map and applied to the model. And you want to make sure that, like, the higher the resolution of the bump maps, the better quality the bump maps are going to be. So in this case, this one is 1024 by 1024, which ended up giving quality, if I zoom in, where's the, there, I guess I had it, which looked like this, which is still kind of pixely. If I would have went to like 2048 or higher, it would have been looking better, but that's also stupid high quality texture, and those are just not easy to play with all the time. So So it still gave the result that I wanted, which was that. If you're doing one of the difficult parts with some of the bump maps is the pony ones, especially the pony ones, aren't always mapped very well, in that sometimes the texture when coming around the edge here might be pulling on the texture more than, or like stretching it or something more than it is on the rest of it. So a bump map that has an even like text or bump map to it, or an even layer to it, may not always look right. And so you're gonna get, and that's what, like here, these are kind of close to each other, but then you go up here and these are super stretched and fatter. That's just because of the actual textures being pulled more in those areas. If you have a situation like that on something, there is another method you can kind of use to do bump maps that's, or not even just bump maps, but texture overlays, that is works, but is only works for pictures. I highly recommend not using it for video. And that is to utilize, let me turn around, is utilize a gobo light. I've went over this a couple times, but I think it's so useful. I'll cover it as many times as I ever need. So I just want to give some kind of a general light for her. All right, the main one that I ended up using this for originally was I needed blood. So I'm going to disable shadows right now. So I'm just going to add a gobo light to this. And I'm gonna look up blood. I want to be in just user mod. I'm looking for the ones in the folder called Gobo. Here we go. It's this one. So this texture is just black with, and here, I'll open it up here so you can see what I did with it, because I made the texture. Materials, I just made a folder called Gobo for me to place all this. And I have blood, and what blood is just a black texture with a white spray. So when I put it on a light, the light says to pass light on anything that's white and not where it's dark black, and then to do kind of a fade on the rest of the area. So I just did a splat looking texture. So if I grab the light here, I have this like weird splat looking light. So let's just say that you got splat in the butt. That's actually kind of sounds right, or wrong, but we're also going to drop our minimum or max so it doesn't stretch. And so you can have this an actual like splat effect. I'm going to turn on shadows so then it doesn't continue through. Turn off the shadow attenuation and put it up there. Okay. Okay, that's actually probably not the best place to put that because that looks really bad. So let's just say she got shot like right there, you could say. So now if I take this, I can make it red. And you could say that you have made some blood. The problem is now you're like, what? This is bright. I don't want bright blood unless she's like radioactive. So instead, you want to make it darker. So let's just make it negative intensity. So I'm going to go negative 50, 0, negative 25. Now if I go negative, because everything is therefore negative, red is going to be negative, and which means that you're going to get like teal, because it's going to be a mixture of green and blue then. It's the opposite of red. So if you want to increase red, you have to make it 0. And then that is a little bit cartoonish of blood, but it technically does work. Then if you put this at an angle, you can get actually a nice looking like spray effect. Negative lights are useful. They're just dangerous and don't always work. They misbehave a lot. So you have a red here, but it really just kind of looks painted on, which may be what you want. That's fine. But if you want to actually give it depth, this is where you can actually create like artificial bump maps with lights. So a bump map, and if you actually look at her armor here, say for example, it's showing that light is coming from this direction and coming this way. So on the opposite side it's lit, and it's so that means that it'd be darker from this side. So you can see that it's lit on this edge, on the left edge, and darker on the right edge. So in essence, to make something look has depth, it's just to make part of it lighter and part of it darker in such a way that it appears to have depth. So let's just do the same thing with the light. So I'm gonna take this same light, I'm gonna copy, I'm gonna paste it, and we're just going to shift it a teeny bit in the direction. Its rotation doesn't like very, very tiny movements, so you might have it where it keeps wanting to bounce back until you do a big enough motion. The way to fix that is to go farther the direction that you actually want, so like here, and then go to, while it's still orange down here, go to your drop, which is like an undo slider, and you just undo it. So you can see here I can move it back and forth. So I'm just going to drop it until it's just a little above that value. So the whole difference between this is just a tiny little bit of difference in distance. So right now, let's say that the, well, if anything, the light's coming from the right. So let's actually move this to be a little bit on that direction of things. Okay, so it's just a little bit to the left. So if you wanted it to look like it was above the surface of the body, which in this case you would want it to be, because the blood would be on top of. If the light was coming from this direction, that means the light should be on the right edge of the blood, and the darker edge should be on the right side. So this right now I moved to the left, so I would technically want it to be a little darker. Oh, yeah. So darker in this case is just going to be removing some of the red. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this one again. I probably don't need this one, but I'll do it anyway. Let's disable that. We're going to make another one this way. Drop it. Okay, and this one will want to be whiter, so this one will be increase the other ones. I'll keep that the same. Oops. So this one I'm going to go back to and make this a little darker. There. Now I think that the edge, the lit edge might be a little thick. So let's actually, is that the lit edge? Oh, it is. It's this one. So we're just gonna, I'm just putzing with the values now to try to get the values that I want. I kind of like that going up a little bit just because it, let that fade. Actually, with the dark and the light, I could say that I don't even need it anymore. But I like it gives a little extra depth. And that's the dark one. That's the light one, giving it that little edge. So there you have, and what actually looks more like a fake 3D effect with lights. So to show like another place I've used that, and actually I've used it quite a bit, was in chemistry. No, I don't want you associated with those. I want you associated with that. never get to it in time. So at the very end here, or not very end, right here. So this was the ground here didn't actually have any. It was perfectly flat. So to give the ground this depth feeling here, like it had some kind of a depth. It was done with the bump map, or not a bump map, with the gobo lights to make it look like it had a bump map. That's why it kind of looks a little awkward here, because you can see it's just a light here and then a light was at the top, so it's not. And this one isn't the only lights. That bright light that's coming down across is also interfering with a little bit, but that's fine because it only helped. But like in this one, the one difficulty I had was as I got further away, the bump maps effect became weaker and weaker. And so I had, because they were so close, so as the camera's pulling away, I actually had the lights getting further and further apart to have the effect still be maintained at that distance, so you can still see the bright line, otherwise that disappeared. But this was one of the situations where I utilize that. It actually turned out pretty good. I wish it could have been a higher pixel count, but for how big it was, I wasn't going to really make it much better than that, because you can start seeing the pixels in the light from this distance. But it was either that or like have some absolutely stupidly high poly or textures. I think this was like a 2000 by 2000. It's big enough. I don't think I used any other bump maps like that in here. Not in that one. That one was all pre-made. This was used. Those are all negative lights. There's a lot of negative lights, but that was the only way I could figure out how to make the dips in the ground, or at least the footsteps. Well, footsteps that would appear as he walked. I think that was the important part. Yeah, I don't think I put in any in that one. But as for like the blood spray, the this one was where I figured you can get a pretty good blood effect, because if I actually went and did the actual textures on her with that, it would have been forever trying to figure out where the blood would have came up on her skin compared to her horn, and the textures on this were mirrored side to side, so if I put it on this side, it was going to be on the other side too. So I just was like, I'll try gobos, and it actually worked pretty good. So yeah. And if you wanted to, you could even put like use like a gobo here, not a gobo, a modification to her texture underneath for like an actual wound, and then use the blood for the spray. Because then you would have something that looked like this, so that it's spreading onto other surfaces, while the actual wound is staying on the actual texture for her. So I'll get rid of that now. She can go in peace. So I hope that covers at least the bump map questions that came about. There's softwares out there that help you make bump maps, but it's, to me, that's like a whole profession. It's just trying to figure out how to do bump maps. Bump maps today are more important than like having a high polygon count. You can make things look like they have stupid amounts of detail without having a single, or without having any more than like a couple polygons. You can have a perfectly flat surface look like it has immense detail, but not only have it be one single polygon the whole time. So Nonetheless. So what do I need left for the scene build here? Guess education. Oh, I wanted a spacer audio out here.
Science! You got a brain!
I was gonna put it.
Not the brain! Squishy! Yeah! Science! You got a... Yeah! Squishy! Yeah! Science!
I wonder if I should break this up.
Squishy! Ho! Shut surgery! Ho! Now grab the... Ho! 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 Surgery! Ho!
No, I was getting a little bit of end audio there.
Now grab the brain! Squishy! Yeah! Science! Yeah!
Maybe I should put it here.
You got a brain! Woo!
Yeah, I might put it there.
Woo!
Alright, I'm gonna be spacing these out a bit more.
Squishy! Yeah! Now grab the brain! Headshot surgery! Ho! Surgery! Ho!
I think I was looking at models, but we'll just give it a shot. So, there might be a buzzsaw sound. Oh, that's different. Usually it's a buzzsaw. I'm okay with that. So we want some kind of a, like a whap sound. No. No. We want probably like a thump, because this is going to be wood. That's too big. That actually might work.
Surgery! Ho! Now grab the...
Okay, so these need to space out.
Now grab the brain! Now grab the brain!
Oh, I got the wrong one.
Ho! Now grab the brain! Now grab the brain!
Okay, so I need the sound of it coming down. Oops. Come back. So I'm going to just do that. We're also going to set fade time, fade in 0.1. to do the animation for this right now too. I'm trying to do as much as I can within the main before I split it off, just to have it so everything's on the same page. All right, so we need. Where is this? Oh, it doesn't matter where it's going to be for slamming it down. So the actual down position would be here. Probably going to be quicker than that. Okay, then it's going to bounce up a little bit. We did this once before, but that kind of broke. Okay, that kind of works, but I think this is too loud. So that sounds pretty good, actually.
Now grab the brain.
Was there a outfit, superhero outfit for Spike? I don't think so. I wondered if they had gloves for him, because that would be goofy. The only thing I don't like about this line is that the model itself is static. So it's not really squishy. It's just a brain. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna probably still keep it because it doesn't have to make sense. Okay, so the mallet's gonna have to lift up. I don't think there's a model for it.
Now grab the brain. Now grab the brain. Now grab the brain. Now grab.
I wonder. Actually, you know what? I might switch the audio here. Maybe I should put it here.
Squishy!
like have it instead of be a squishy of that the brain is squishy, but that he got squishy.
Squishy! Yeah! Squishy! Yeah!
I could almost grab the it's congealed bit too.
Squishy! Yeah!
It's fine. So, expecting the link getting your treasure routine. Oh, anyway, this one.
You got a brain! Woo!
That actually would be. That actually could work. I wouldn't even need the last line then. Well, no. Well, because to me, it's. I almost want to add more to this just because, like, it's random, but there's no context. So, yes, you got a brain, but what do you do with it? I'm thinking that you could utilize it because they're talking about, like, put it in the rocket. So I could have her put it in a rocket. But then that we're looking at, like, this long. No. Putting in a rocket and then launching the rocket. And then if we did that, like my brain's just going nuts with ideas for this. Like how far do I want to go down the rabbit hole? But that says torque brain. That's the problem, is that they actually have context to what the brain is. So, no, because the idea was, okay, so let's say that we do utilize the putting in a rocket. Well, then I would have to say, well, where is the rocket? Where would we fit that in? My thought was you could if I changed the floor a bit, I thought that was floating. I could utilize this because right now I'm utilizing the floor because it's just a detailed floor to throw this on. But if I were to take and modify the floor to be like that, this platform could move down, I could replace it with like a rocket coming up. Have it be like ring, and then something like that. Because I think this is a separate bit. Yeah, that's separate. But even if that, because this is the ring. So the thoughts were, if I increase the size of the base, I don't have to increase the size of the platform this is on, but if I increase the size of this base to something like this, I can keep essentially everything the same. Yeah. But then I could have... Well, actually, that even just kind of works to slide it down. I mean, you could have it just slide down like this. And then have... Because if from the right angle... I could have... Or not even from the right angle. This... The master brain. So make sure I wasn't destroying the light. Have this go down. You could have a rocket come up through the center of that. The problem is how do you... because of the size. Like a round bit. Let's see what we have for rockets. Don't make ideas until you know what you can work with. Because, like, okay, here's a rocket. That's why I save it. But if you were to put a brain in it, how do you get that in it? Let's see what Workshop has. So rocket launcher, rocket bot, some fancy. Those are some pretty fancy looking arms. These are nice rockets, but they have the wings, and those are not going to work well. Those are going to be low poly. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's going to be what I would like. Check again. This might actually work pretty good too. Does it have bones? Doesn't. Damn. Where is it? And it's built to be exactly as it is, not to open, nothing. Alright, see you later, Boris. Neat. Now see, that kind of works because it has a hole. That is super detailed. I might utilize this, kind of. So let's just rock it. Oh, okay, good. There's a bigger version of it. With rockets on the bottom. That could work then. So, because for one shot, you utilize this one, and then for the other one, you use this one. So, I did not think I was going to find a rocket with a hole in it. I don't know if I'm going to bother checking any others. It's going to be a small rocket, or a small hole. We'll see if it works. Oh, these are weird. Why are these not centered? Whatever. I was just concerned about like because I was like, okay, how are you gonna get it in there? Because if you remove this, you're removing any like potential platforms for walking on. But might just worry about that later. That's a minor detail. I might even just have it like go in weird, like just go like. I don't want to move it from where it is right now though. So this is going to be rocket with opening rocket full. I wonder what that rocket looks like with the lights on. I'll have to play with the lights a little bit, but pretty neat. Oh, it's even got some like fake looking lights in there. Okay, but I'll probably worry more about that a little later. Because if that's the case, then we might need like a ceiling that opens then too. Because right now they're not, it's made to be angled. Not because I needed it to, but because it just was. From the game it was from, I can understand that it was, the player was probably right up there doing something with it. So they needed it to be pretty detailed. Oh, should save that first. There. Now I should go do that. Okay. Okay, this other mallet is bugging me. Oh yeah. There was that. I'll just move everything first and then follow it up. So this needs to be moved. There. All right, now it's a little more balanced. This wall needs a little bit more. I'm not really worried about having some of that match up because the ceilings are clipping the walls right there, right? Yeah, ooh, a lot. Oh. Could fix that by just increasing the size of that one wall. I really don't even care that there's like weird tubes in weird places. Oh, actually, I can maybe back that wall off a little bit. Maybe. Most I can back it off to is there. That still works. Well, kind of. That tube's looking a little weird. Do like that. Yeah, that looks a little better. That leaves a hole in a couple places. But if anything, that just might work okay. It's like it's just continuing on to the next room or something. Leave a little bit of a hole to nothingness, but whatever. Magic. Okay, and then where's my ceiling? Might have to do a slide. But then I can have the ceilings essentially just slide apart like kind of like that. I don't think they're going to be timed correctly here, but like that.
Now grab the brain. Now grab the brain. You got a brain.
So
Grab the.
you get it. Okay, I'm not worried about doing that right now, but it's the tools are there for when I need to. I don't want to have scene build bits where I'm having to copy paste elements between all shots or changing things between all shots. I'm trying to plan it out in a general idea right now for what I will need for tools, make them available, and then I don't have to worry in future shots. So like the lighting right now to me is not an important part. Well, this kind of lighting is situational lighting, but like this one isn't. Because I can just do that per shot, and that could be differing every shot. But this one is going to be part of the environment. What's that light? Oh, it's the underlight I've got. Well, for the most part it is, but it's fine. Let's leave it. What other tools would be needed? There will need to be an exterior, like environment, like outside light, or not light, like sky and whatever. But I'm not worried about that right now. That's not going to be needed until the later shot, so I can break it off from there. I don't think there's really much else for the environment to worry about. No. Unless I want to add any other detail stuff here. Once I figure out how to get rid of that, I'll just change it in the texture of the file, so it'll affect all of them anyway. No, the only thing I think of is if I want to I need to bump up the lights a little bit. Okay. There, things are a lot easier to see now. My camera over there now. Supposed to be looking at Nerd. Why is it showing the focal plane? cameras. That's weird. Never had that lock in place before. I think that's a lot better of one. Higher detail. One thing I don't like about it is it feels like it's an awkward shape and size. I could always have it where it's available for like this shot. Actually, I wonder if it might almost work better. I feel like those lines actually are too detailed where it's pulling away from the attention of her. Well, and with the, this one should actually be higher aperture maybe. It's not going to change much for that thing though. Well, a little bit. Maybe. I might just stick with this one. It's such an old computer that even the resolution of itself is low. The main thing I need to do is, right now, if I were to jump to this shot without any other context and without showing anything else about the area, would you know that she is staring at a monitor? Not really. If I did it to like here, if I had it like down here and had it come up, then that would be additional context. It's, I think one of the difficult parts with doing a lot of video stuff is that we know what this looks like, but if somebody came in with only this, would they know, like within a short period of time, what it is that she's looking at? Maybe, but I don't want a maybe. I want a probably or a for sure. So it's about trying to figure out a, like, does that, like, maybe having it back this far or something to give that additional context. But normally you want to have some kind of an establishing shot. So if I were to jump right to this, there is nothing being established. There's nothing being said as to what we're looking at. And if I were to jump to him right afterwards, does that give any context? No. That says nothing. I don't know, where is he compared to her? That's what the whole point of establishing shot like this would be. But if I'm going to do something like this, establishing shot, I need to determine at what direction do I want to lock myself into, because I don't want to break the 180 rule. The 180 rule being that there's a line connecting him and Twilight, and I can't cross that line with the camera. So, meaning that if I want to have the camera like this, and then have the camera like this, I can, but I can't go from this to this. And the thing is, I like this shot, so I kind of want to have it be on this side. But if I do, I'm losing a lot of the detail that I have on this side. So I like this more from his side, but I like this more from her side. I might be able to fix that. I think this science stuff. Oh no, that's all one. Damn, I thought this was two. Yeah, because from this angle, this to me looks a lot better. What I could do is swap the walls. Personally, I always prefer being on this side of conversations, or like in this case, my brain tells me to stay on this side. I just do not like. Well, I might be able to make that work. I guess I would have to change these other monitors to have other information on it because I don't know what the hell some of this stuff is, and it's super low polygon, or not polygon, super low quality. But I can change that pretty easy. I might be able to make it work from like this. It's just that like do this, I can't do this shot because there's a bright monitor now. This is being blocked, so there's like a lack of context, and that doesn't work either. So I'd have to be at least like here, which kind of makes Spike a little bit more interesting. But I can always go up here if I need to talk with Spike. So okay. So I think I am going to utilize this side. Okay. So what do I want for an establishing shot? What is camera 1? Oh, I don't need camera 1 anymore. Wait, no. Nah, I don't want camera 1. Establishing shot should be 35. No, I'm not going to do a tilt. But this should work as an establishing. One of the problems with this is that she is closer than he is. Because the difference between them is like 100. If I put it here, they're both going to be fairly in focus then, and just keep the aperture really low. And then, like even here, this desk is right up close. Probably even push this off more. things closer from the focal distance are usually still in focus more than the stuff that is past it. So yeah, that should work right there. And that will work as an establishment. Do I want to have him interacting at all with her beforehand? I might have to look up any audio if I want to take any audio for him. I can't grab any of the other Borderlands guys in the conversation with them because the only ones that are available are Claptrap, which you know, and Wilhelm, which is overly gruff. So I might need to think on some of that. But start the camera breakup. All right. So, but I was planning on trying to cut it around here at 8 o'clock here, and something's bothering me a little bit too. So I'm going to cut it here so that I'm not getting stuck in something else. So, and if you want, this is recorded and everything. So if you, in terms of the butt map bit, if you want to watch it again, that'll be up on YouTube probably in the morning, and then you can watch it from there. So, but anyways, so that'll be enough for tonight. Oh yeah, I was gonna check that out. That's why I kept that open. So, anyways, have a good Friday. I don't have a kitty button yet. Do I still have this kitty button? Yeah, I do. There you go. You know this kitty. It's not the other good big kitty, but you can have that kitty. So, all right. Have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.